This is where we are. Now the Democrats are somehow causing the weather. And then Laura Ingraham, this nonsense. Yes, white supremacists. They're Antifa. This is where we are on the level of stupidity in our country. Fox News is fascist propaganda. When you watch the videos and the reporting of Fox News with Dean Cain, they're like, thousands and thousands and billions and trillions of people are coming in for their little 250 fare. There was barely like 50 people there. They're literally showing you a field in the back, the whole lawn, empty. And they're telling you, look at all the people. Hey, look, they're just around the corner. They don't care about facts. They don't care about evidence. It doesn't matter to them. They voted for the orange rapist because he hates the same people they do. Own the libs, and own the black people. That's it. They don't care. And the evangelical church has created a lot of this, right? And I'm going to say this as a person of faith myself. You grow up in the church and you're told to believe the Bible, believe it, it's 100% true. You can't prove that the Bible's real. You can't prove who wrote it. You can't prove to me that God is real, just like I can't prove it to you. You can't prove that Jesus was real. You didn't see him. You didn't hear him. What's his favorite food? How tall was he? What kind of shoes did he wear? What was his shoe size? What was his favorite band? You don't know anything. But when you grow up in the white church, this is what you get. This stupidity and this ignorance and this religious psychosis. Is that everything that's a conspiracy theory, you could accept it. When you listen to these MAGA white supremacists that buy into the white male patriarchy, they don't need facts or evidence just because they just want to believe it. When you hear them talk about God, it's like they talk about Trump, right? Well, God is real and there's nothing you can do to convince me. Prove it to me. They can't. It's real. Trust me, bro. It is. I know it. No, you don't. You don't. And as a person of faith who was named after Paul, I can say that I can't prove that God is real. Do I believe it? Sure. Can I state it as a matter of fact? I can't. Because I can't prove that God's real. I don't know when they wrote the Bible. I don't know who wrote Genesis. I mean, think about it, right? The book of Genesis as an example. Who was there when the earth was created? It wasn't. Some old guy later on in life wrote it in a book. Secondhand information. Maybe it was from God. Maybe he made it up. Nobody knows for sure. Because I don't buy into religious psychosis. I question things. This is how we're getting to this point. These people think that God sent Donald Trump, who rapes women, who defends child molesters, who is best friend with a child molester, who cheats on his wife, who sexually assaulted 24 women, who lied about an election, who sat on his ass while officers were beaten. Somehow, God sent him here. Somehow, God saved his little orange ear, but let the guy behind him, who was a father, take the bullet and die. Somehow, God stood by during the Holocaust and Jim Crow and the Trail of Tears and the genocide of Native Americans, but God came down and saved a rapist who cheats on his wife. This is how stupid these people are. They're dumb. And the vast majority are like the lady that left that comment. They're these little Tammy Faye Baker, Erica Kirk, bullshit, white male patriarchy, fake ass Christians. They're Pharisees. That's who they are. That's who they've always been. It's who they're always going to be. You cannot change them because they don't want to admit that they're wrong. Their pride. You're not going to find common ground with some of these people. Your friends, your family, some of them are gone. I saw one of these MAGA supporters at the 250 celebration. He wants Nuremberg trials for every single Democrat. I'm not kidding. He literally asked for them to be executed. This is where we are. When you look at, for historical purposes, the first version of MAGA was the Sanhedrin that murdered Jesus in the name of God. Just think about that. The dude that gave people food, that helped them, that cured them, that had dinner with his enemies, they murdered him because he refused to align with their religious agenda. And they chose Barabbas over him. That's who MAGA is, and it's who they've always been. Unless you adhere to their version of white Jesus, they think everybody in this planet is going to rot in hell and burn in the fiery furnaces of hell. And the second part of the religious indoctrination is taking culture wars like abortion. And it is a culture war. Because if your stance is you're pro-life, right? And this goes back to proving how stupid they are and lack of critical thinking. Okay, once the baby's born, you don't care if the mother dies from sepsis or complications. You don't care if Donald Trump rapes the child. You don't care if Trump molests the little girl at Epstein Island. You don't care if the child dies on January 6th from suicide from Donald Trump lying. You don't care if it's shot into school, a shopping mall, a movie theater. You don't care if it has health care. You don't care if it dies from lack of food. You don't care if it's homeless. You don't care if it has affordable housing. And you sure as hell don't care if it dies from the environment. What exactly are you pro-life about? You're not. But see, that's the problem. They don't. Because they're too stupid and stuck in their religious psychosis to say that they're pro-life. I'm pro-life. Democrats are pro-life. And I'm not even a Democrat. They want universal health care. They want to raise minimum wage. They want to make housing affordable. That's pro-life. And you people with your crosses will stand by while 40,000 people die every year from gun violence. Nothing to see here. But the moment 10 transgender athletes playing college sports, you will lose your shit and pass dozens and dozens and dozens of laws and demonize them. But you won't do a damn thing when children are identified by their dental records. And this is how we get to this MAGA, unhinged, mentally deranged people, because that's what this is. This is a cult of stupidity and ignorance and religious psychosis. It has to be people like me that call it out, because I've read the Bible. And you know, the last thing I'll say, it's interesting how many people say they believe in free will and call themselves Christians and they're not, right? I have the free will to go to Costco, to go for a walk, to run down the street naked, to watch porn. It's my free will to live my life. And when you take away people's free will, you're no longer following what you say you believe. Has God stopped abortions? Has God stopped gun violence? Did God stop Trump from raping women and molesting little girls on Epstein Island? No. And yet you have the ability to pass legislation and support laws to stop this stuff, but you won't. So I guess God is a radical left libtard that murders babies, because if you're saying that Democrats are murdering babies by giving women free people, then God's murdering babies too, because he's not stopping hundreds and thousands of years of genocide, isn't he? But you're too stupid and too indoctrinated and too prideful to see that. Have a white day.